Lily's grandma loved that old house. It has character, Lily Pad, she'd always say, her eyes twinkling. But after Grandma Rose passed away, the house felt less like a place of character and more like a place of shadows. Lily was only 10, and moving into the creaky, three-story Victorian all by herself, well, almost, her parents visited every weekend, felt like stepping into a spooky movie. The house groaned and sighed with every gust of wind. The floorboards protested with loud creaks whenever Lily walked, and the wallpaper, patterned with faded roses, seemed to peel away a little more each day. Lily tried to make it her own, hanging up her drawings and putting her stuffed animals on the enormous four-poster bed that had belonged to her great-great-grandmother. But the house just felt empty. Loneliness wrapped around her like a heavy blanket. She missed Grandma Rose's warm hugs and the smell of her baking cookies. Now, the only smell was of dust and old wood. She tried to be brave, reminding herself that Grandma Rose wanted her to live here, to keep the family home alive. But some nights, when the wind howled outside, and the shadows danced on the walls, Lily couldn't help but feel a shiver of fear crawl down her spine. One evening, while reading a book in the living room, Lily noticed something odd. A shadow flickered in the corner of her eye, but when she turned to look, there was nothing there. Probably just the wind, she muttered, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Later that night, as she was getting ready for bed, a door slammed shut down the hallway with a loud bang. Lily jumped, her heart pounding in her chest. She slowly crept down the hallway, her flashlight beam dancing nervously across the walls. The door was to the guest bedroom, a room she hadn't even been in yet. She pushed it open cautiously, but the room was empty. The window was closed. Maybe it was just the wind, she whispered again, but this time, she didn't believe it. The house felt different now. It felt alive. And not in a good way. As she scurried back to her room, she couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, was sharing her home. And that someone didn't want her there. Sleep was hard to come by that night. Every creak, every groan, every rustle of leaves outside her window sounded like footsteps, like whispers, like a presence drawing closer. Lily pulled the covers up to her chin, clutching her favorite stuffed bear, Barnaby, and wished, more than anything, that Grandma Rose was here to tell her everything was going to be all right. The house held its breath, waiting. The next day, Lily tried to ignore the unsettling feeling. Maybe it was just the wind. She decided to explore the attic, a place Grandma Rose had always warned her to stay away from. Too dusty, Lily Pad. And full of cobwebs, she'd said with a playful shiver. But Lily figured, what better way to distract herself than to conquer her fear of the unknown? The attic door was at the end of a narrow hallway on the third floor. It was heavy and painted a dark, almost black, color. Lily had to push hard to get it open, and a cloud of dust billowed out, making her cough. The air inside was thick and stale, and the only light came from a small, grimy window at the far end. Cobwebs hung like ghostly curtains, and the floorboards groaned under her weight with every step. Boxes were stacked everywhere, filled with forgotten memories. Old photographs, yellowed letters tied with ribbon, and dusty toys lay scattered about. Lily carefully picked up a photograph of a young woman in a long dress, her hair piled high on her head. She looked like a princess. Lily wondered who she was. As she put the photo back, she noticed something move out of the corner of her eye. A shadow, darting behind a stack of boxes. "Hello." Lily called out, her voice trembling slightly. Silence. She took a deep breath and moved closer to the boxes. "Is anyone there?" Still nothing. She peeked behind the boxes, but there was only more dust and cobwebs. Maybe it was just her imagination. But as she turned to leave, she heard a faint whisper. It was so quiet, she almost missed it. It sounded like a girl's voice, barely audible above the creaking of the house. "Be careful," it whispered. Lily froze, her heart pounding in her chest. She spun around, searching for the source of the voice, but the attic was empty. Except, perhaps, for the shadows that seemed to dance and sway in the dim light. Back in her room, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that she had heard something real. And the shadow. She was sure she had seen a shadow. That night, the strange occurrences escalated. The lights flickered on and off, even though Lily knew the bulbs were new. She heard scratching sounds coming from inside the walls, like tiny claws tapping against the wood. And then, the whispers started again. This time, they were louder, clearer. "He's watching you," the voice whispered. "He's always watching." Lily huddled under her covers, terrified. She didn't know who he was, or why he was watching her, but she knew one thing: she wasn't alone in this house. And whatever was sharing her home was growing stronger, bolder. It was no longer just slamming doors and flickering lights. It was something much more sinister. Something that wanted her gone. Sleep became a distant memory. Every night, Lily lay awake, listening to the house breathe, waiting for the next sign, the next whisper, the next terrifying event. One particularly stormy night, the wind howled like a hungry wolf, rattling the windows and shaking the entire house. Lily was huddled under her covers, trying to block out the noise, when she saw it. A shimmering, translucent figure standing at the foot of her bed. Lily gasped, but no sound came out. The figure was a girl, about Lily's age, with long, dark hair and sad, blue eyes. She wore a white dress that seemed to float around her, and her skin was pale and almost see-through. Lily knew, without a doubt, that she was looking at a ghost. The ghost girl smiled sadly. "Don't be afraid," she whispered, her voice like the chime of tiny bells. "My name is Clara." Lily finally found her voice, though it was barely a whisper. "Eh, the ghost?" Clara nodded. "I used to live here, a long, long time ago." Lily was terrified, but also strangely fascinated. She had always loved ghost stories, but she never thought she would actually see one. "Why are you here?" she asked. "I'm here to help you," Clara said. "You're in danger." Lily's heart pounded in her chest. "Danger? What do you mean?" "Someone is watching you, Lily," Clara said, her voice growing more serious. "Someone who doesn't want you here. He's been here a long time, hiding in the shadows." Lily remembered the whispers, the shadows in the attic, the feeling of being watched. "I know," she said. "I can feel it." "He's very clever," Clara warned. "He's good at hiding. But I can help you find him. I know the house better than anyone." Lily looked at Clara, her fear slowly giving way to hope. Maybe she wasn't alone after all. Maybe this ghost girl could help her protect herself. "How can you help me?" she asked. Clara smiled again, a faint, ethereal smile. "I'll give you clues," she said. "Little hints that will lead you to him. But you have to be brave, Lily. And you have to trust me." Lily took a deep breath. "I'll be brave," she said. "I promise. I trust you, Clara." From that moment on, Lily's life changed. She wasn't just a lonely girl living in a spooky old house anymore. She was an investigator, a detective, working with a ghost to uncover a hidden stalker. It was a terrifying and dangerous task, but Lily knew she had to do it. For herself, and for Clara, who had been trapped in this house for so long. The game was afoot. And the stakes were higher than ever. The next morning, Lily woke up with a newfound sense of purpose. She wasn't just going to sit around and be scared anymore. She was going to find this stalker, with Clara's help, and take back her home. She thought about Clara's words: "He's very clever. He's good at hiding." That meant she had to be even cleverer. After breakfast, a piece of toast that tasted like dust, Lily went back to her room and waited. She didn't have to wait long. A few minutes later, Clara shimmered into existence beside her bed. "Are you ready?" Clara asked, her blue eyes filled with concern. Ready as I'll ever be, Lily replied, trying to sound braver than she felt. Good, Clara said. The first clue is this: where secrets sleep, and time stands still, the answer lies upon the window sill. Lily frowned. What does that mean? Clara smiled mysteriously. You'll figure it out. Just think about where secrets might be kept in this house, and where time seems to stand still. Then, just as quickly as she had appeared, Clara vanished. Lily thought hard. Where secrets sleep. Could that be the attic? Or maybe the old library downstairs, with all those dusty books. And time stands still. That definitely sounded like the attic, which felt like it hadn't been touched in decades. And a window sill. Lily raced back to the attic, her heart pounding with anticipation. She carefully examined each window sill, running her fingers along the dusty surface. Nothing. She checked under the sills, behind the curtains, even inside the window frames. Still nothing. Discouraged, Lily sat down on an old trunk, feeling defeated. Maybe she wasn't cut out for this detective work. Maybe the stalker was too clever, and Clara's clues were too cryptic. Then, she remembered something. When she was looking at the photograph of the young woman in the attic, she had noticed a small, almost hidden window high up in the wall, near the roof. It was so small and grimy, she had almost missed it. Lily jumped up and scrambled over the boxes, trying to reach the small window. It was too high. She looked around frantically, searching for something to stand on. Finally, she spotted a rickety old stool in the corner. She dragged it over to the window and carefully climbed on top. The window sill was covered in dust, but as Lily wiped it away, she saw something. Scratched into the glass, in tiny, almost invisible letters, were the words, "He is watching." Lily gasped. The stalker was watching her. But from where? And who was he? The clue had led her to the horrifying realization that she was being observed, but it didn't reveal the stalker's identity or location. Clara's warnings were becoming chillingly real. She was being stalked, and the stalker was close. Very close. Back in her room, Lily paced back and forth, trying to make sense of it all. He is watching. The words echoed in her mind, sending shivers down her spine. Who was he? And where was he watching from? She needed to tell Clara what she had found. As if summoned by her thoughts, Clara appeared beside her, her ghostly form shimmering in the afternoon light. "Did you find the clue?" she asked, her eyes bright with anticipation. Lily nodded, her voice trembling. "Yes, but it's not good. It says, he is watching. That means the stalker is in the house, watching me right now." Clara's face grew grave. "I know," she said. "He's always been here. I can feel his presence, but I can't see him. He's very good at hiding. But who is he?" Lily asked desperately. "Do you know?" Clara shook her head sadly. "I can't tell you," she said. "If I say his name, he'll know I'm helping you, and he'll become even more dangerous. I can only give you clues." Lily groaned in frustration. "But that's not fair. How am I supposed to find him if you can't even tell me who he is?" "I know it's difficult, Lily," Clara said softly. "But you're strong and clever. You can do this. Just trust your instincts and follow the clues." "Okay," Lily said, taking a deep breath. "Okay, I'll try. But what's the next clue?" Clara paused, her eyes clouding over as if she were trying to see something far away. "The next clue is this: where flowers bloom, but never grow, a secret lies for you to know." Lily frowned again. Where flowers bloom, but never grow. What could that mean? She thought about the house, trying to picture every room, every corner, every detail. There was the garden outside, but the flowers there definitely grew. There were the roses on the wallpaper, but they weren't really blooming. Suddenly, she remembered something. In the living room, hanging above the fireplace, was a large, framed painting of a vase filled with flowers. The flowers in the painting were beautiful and vibrant, but they were just painted images, never growing, never changing. The painting! Lily exclaimed. The painting in the living room. Clara smiled. Go, Lily, she said. See what you can find. But be careful. He's watching. And with that, she vanished again, leaving Lily alone with her thoughts and her fears. But also with a renewed sense of determination. She was one step closer to finding the stalker, and she wasn't going to give up. Not now. Not ever. Lily hurried downstairs to the living room, her heart pounding with each step. As she approached the painting, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. She glanced around nervously, but the room was empty. Still, the hairs on the back of her neck prickled with unease. She carefully examined the painting. It was a beautiful still life, depicting a vibrant bouquet of roses, lilies, and tulips in a delicate porcelain vase. The colors were so rich and lifelike, it almost felt like she could reach out and touch the petals. But something about the painting felt off. As she stared at it, she noticed a small detail she hadn't seen before. Hidden among the leaves, almost invisible to the naked eye, was a tiny, dark shape. It looked like a keyhole. Lily gasped. A keyhole in a painting? That was definitely suspicious. She reached out and touched the spot, her fingers tracing the outline of the keyhole. It was real. But where could she find a key that fit? As she pondered this, her thoughts drifted to Mr. Grumbles, the grumpy old neighbor who lived next door. He always scowled at Lily whenever she saw him, and he seemed to disapprove of everything she did. He was always muttering to himself, and Lily had often heard him complaining about the noisy children and the untidy garden. Could he be the stalker? He certainly seemed grumpy enough to be capable of anything. Then there was Mr. Fickle, the handyman who had been helping Grandma Rose with repairs around the house before she passed away. He was a skinny, nervous man with shifty eyes, and he always seemed to be lurking around, even when he wasn't needed. He made Lily feel uneasy, and she couldn't shake the feeling that he was always watching her. Had Grandma Rose hired him recently? Lily wasn't sure. Maybe he was the one hiding in the shadows. But neither of them seemed clever enough to scratch a message into glass or hide a keyhole in a painting. Could it be someone else entirely? Someone she hadn't even considered? Suddenly, Lily remembered something Clara had said, "He's very clever." That meant the stalker was intelligent, resourceful, and capable of planning elaborate schemes. Mr. Grumbles and Mr. Fickle seemed more pathetic than clever. Lily sighed. She was no closer to finding the stalker than she had been before. The keyhole in the painting was a clue, but it didn't tell her who the stalker was. She needed more information. She needed a key. And she needed to figure out who to trust. Because whoever this stalker was, he was definitely watching her. And he was getting closer. The game was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. Lily decided to start her search for the key in the most logical place, Grandma Rose's study. It was a small, cluttered room filled with bookshelves, stacks of papers, and various knickknacks. Grandma Rose had always been a bit of a pack rat, so Lily knew it would be a challenge to find anything specific in all the mess. She started by systematically searching the drawers of Grandma Rose's desk. She found old bills, dried-up pens, and a collection of colorful buttons, but no keys. She checked the bookshelves, running her fingers along the spines of the books, hoping to find a key tucked away inside. Nothing. Growing increasingly frustrated, Lily decided to try a different approach. Maybe the key wasn't hidden in plain sight. Maybe it was hidden somewhere secret, like in a hidden passage or a secret room. She remembered reading about old houses with secret passages hidden behind bookshelves or inside fireplaces. Maybe her house had one too. She started pushing on the bookshelves, trying to see if any of them would swing open. She tapped on the walls, listening for hollow sounds that might indicate a hidden space. After hours of searching, she was exhausted and discouraged. She had found no secret passages, no hidden rooms, and no keys. The only thing she had found was a thick layer of dust and a growing sense of despair. Just as she was about to give up, she noticed something tucked away in the back of one of the bookshelves. It was a small, leather-bound diary, its pages yellowed with age. It was so old and dusty, she had almost missed it. Curious, Lily pulled the diary off the shelf and carefully opened it. The pages were filled with elegant, cursive handwriting, written in faded ink. As she began to read, she realized that the diary belonged to a young woman named Eleanor, who had lived in the house many years ago. Eleanor wrote about her life, her dreams, and her secret love for a man named Thomas. She also wrote about her fears and her suspicions that someone was watching her, someone who wanted to keep her and Thomas apart. As Lily read on, she realized that Eleanor's story was eerily similar to her own. Eleanor had felt like she was being stalked, just like Lily. And she had suspected that the stalker was someone close to her, someone she knew and trusted. Could Eleanor's diary hold the key to solving her own mystery? Could it reveal the identity of the stalker who had been haunting this house for so long? Lily didn't know for sure, but she was determined to find out. She had a feeling that Eleanor's diary was more than just a collection of old memories. It was a clue. And it might be the key to unlocking the truth. Lily spent the rest of the evening poring over Eleanor's diary. The more she read, the more she realized how similar Eleanor's life had been to her own. Eleanor had also lived in the house alone after her parents had passed away. She had loved the house, but she had also felt a growing sense of unease, a feeling that she was being watched. Eleanor wrote about a man named Arthur, who was her cousin. Arthur had always been a part of her life, but after her parents died, he had become increasingly possessive and controlling. He insisted on visiting her every day, and he seemed to disapprove of any other men who showed an interest in her. Eleanor wrote that Arthur had become obsessed with her. He would follow her around town, and he would leave her strange gifts, like bouquets of dead flowers and unsettling poems about her beauty. She had tried to tell him to leave her alone, but he wouldn't listen. He claimed that he was just trying to protect her, but Eleanor knew that his intentions were far more sinister. One entry, written in a shaky hand, caught Lily's attention. "I think Arthur is hiding something from me," Eleanor wrote. "I've seen him sneaking around the attic late at night, and I've heard strange noises coming from up there. I think he's found a secret room, a place where he can watch me without being seen." Lily's heart skipped a beat. A secret room in the attic? Could that be where the stalker was hiding now? Could Arthur, or someone like him, have been living in the house all this time, watching her every move? Eleanor continued, "I tried to follow him into the attic, but he always locks the door. I'm afraid of what I might find up there, but I know I have to find out the truth. I have to know what Arthur is hiding." The last entry in the diary was short and chilling. "I'm going to the attic tonight," Eleanor wrote. "I'm going to find the secret room and confront Arthur. I don't know what will happen, but I can't live like this anymore. I have to know the truth, even if it kills me." Lily closed the diary, her hands trembling. What had happened to Eleanor? Had she found the secret room? Had she confronted Arthur? And what had happened to Arthur? Was he still alive? Was he still in the house? Lily knew what she had to do. She had to go to the attic. She had to find the secret room. And she had to find out the truth about Eleanor and Arthur. It was the only way to protect herself from the stalker who was watching her, the stalker who had been haunting this house for so long. She knew it was dangerous, but she couldn't ignore Eleanor's warning. The diary had confirmed her worst fears. She wasn't just being paranoid. She was in real danger. And the key to her survival might lie hidden in the shadows of the attic. Armed with Eleanor's diary and a flashlight, Lily cautiously made her way to the attic. The house seemed to hold its breath as she climbed the creaking stairs, each step echoing in the oppressive silence. The feeling of being watched intensified, as if unseen eyes were boring into her back. The attic door loomed before her, dark and foreboding. Lily hesitated, her hand trembling as she reached for the doorknob. She took a deep breath, reminding herself that she was doing this for Eleanor, and for herself. She had to be brave. She pushed open the door and stepped into the darkness. The air was thick with dust and the smell of decay. Cobwebs clung to her face like ghostly fingers, and the floorboards groaned ominously under her weight. The flashlight beam danced nervously around the room, illuminating stacks of forgotten belongings and casting long, eerie shadows. The attic seemed even more menacing than she remembered. The shadows seemed to writhe and twist, and the whispers seemed to grow louder, closer. Lily couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, not just by the stalker, but by something else, something ancient and malevolent that had been lurking in this house for centuries. She started to search for the secret room, carefully examining the walls and the floor for any signs of a hidden passage. She pushed against the walls, tapped on the floorboards, and peered behind the stacks of boxes. But everything seemed solid, ordinary. Hours passed, and Lily's hope began to dwindle. Maybe Eleanor had been wrong. Maybe there was no secret room. Maybe Arthur had just been hiding in the attic, like a normal stalker. But then, she noticed something. In the far corner of the attic, behind a large wardrobe, the wall seemed to be slightly out of alignment. It was barely noticeable, but something about it caught her eye. Lily pushed the wardrobe aside, revealing a section of the wall that was slightly darker than the rest. She ran her hand along the surface, feeling for any cracks or seams. And then, she found it. A small, almost invisible crack that ran along the edge of a panel. With trembling fingers, Lily pried at the panel. It was stuck at first, but with a little effort, she managed to loosen it. The panel swung inward, revealing a dark, narrow opening. Lily gasped. She had found it. The secret room. But what awaited her inside? Was the stalker waiting for her? Was Arthur still alive? She had no idea what she was about to face, but she knew she had to go in. She had come too far to turn back now. She pointed her flashlight into the darkness and took a deep breath. It was time to face her fears. It was time to uncover the truth. And it was time to end this nightmare, once and for all. Taking a shaky breath, Lily squeezed through the narrow opening and into the secret room. The air inside was stale and musty, and the darkness was almost absolute. The only light came from her flashlight, which cast a small, wavering beam across the cramped space. The room was small and sparsely furnished. There was a cot in the corner, covered with a thin, dirty blanket. A small table stood against the wall, littered with scraps of paper and pencils. And on the walls. Lily's breath caught in her throat. The walls were covered with drawings and photographs. And not just any drawings and photographs. They were drawings and photographs of her. Some of the drawings were simple sketches, but others were incredibly detailed, capturing her every expression, every movement. The photographs were even more disturbing. They showed her sleeping, eating, reading, playing in the garden. They showed her doing everyday things, but they were taken from strange angles, as if someone had been hiding in the shadows, watching her without her knowledge. Lily felt a wave of nausea wash over her. She was being watched, not just in the house, but in her own room, in her own private moments. Someone had been spying on her, invading her privacy, stealing her life. As she examined the drawings and photographs more closely, she noticed something else. Many of them were annotated with strange symbols and cryptic messages. Some of the messages were loving and admiring, but others were dark and threatening. "You are mine," one message read. "I will never let you go." "You are so beautiful when you sleep," another message said. "I could watch you forever." "If I can't have you, no one can," a third message threatened. Lily's heart pounded in her chest. This wasn't just some harmless admirer. This was a dangerous, obsessed stalker. And he was watching her right now, from somewhere in this house. She frantically searched the rest of the room, hoping to find some clue to the stalker's identity. She found a stack of old newspapers, a collection of dusty books, and a small, wooden box. Inside the box, she found a key. Lily gasped. Could this be the key to the keyhole in the painting? Could it lead her to the stalker's true identity? She had to find out. She had to get out of this room, out of this house, and to safety. But she knew she couldn't leave without knowing who was doing this to her. The fear was overwhelming, but a surge of anger pushed her forward. She wouldn't let this person control her life. As she turned to leave the secret room, she heard a noise behind her. A soft, shuffling sound, like someone was moving in the darkness. Lily froze, her blood running cold. She wasn't alone in the attic. The stalker was here. And he was coming for her. Lily whirled around, her flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. The beam landed on a figure standing in the doorway of the secret room. A figure she knew. A figure she trusted. Uncle Ben. Lily gasped, her voice barely a whisper. Uncle Ben was her mother's brother. He had always been kind and supportive, visiting her every weekend after Grandma Rose passed away. He brought her cookies, helped her with her homework, and listened to her stories. She had thought of him as a friend, almost like another parent. But now, standing in the doorway of the secret room, his face hidden in shadow, he looked like a stranger. His eyes gleamed with an unsettling intensity, and his smile was twisted and unnatural. "Hello, Lily Pad," Uncle Ben said, his voice soft and menacing. "I see you found my little hideaway." Lily couldn't believe it. Uncle Ben, the kind, gentle man she had trusted, was the stalker. He had been watching her, drawing her, photographing her, writing those creepy messages. He had been living in the attic, hiding in the shadows, invading her life. "Why, Uncle Ben?" Lily asked, her voice trembling. "Why are you doing this?" Uncle Ben stepped into the room, his eyes never leaving hers. "I'm doing this because I love you, Lily Pad," he said. "I've always loved you. You're so beautiful, so smart, so special. You're the only one who understands me." Lily recoiled in horror. "That's not love, Uncle Ben," she said. "That's obsession. That's sick." Uncle Ben's face darkened. "You don't understand," he said. "I'm protecting you. The world is a dangerous place, Lily Pad. You need someone to take care of you, to watch over you, to keep you safe." "I don't need you to protect me," Lily said, finding her courage. "I can protect myself." "No, you can't," Uncle Ben said, his voice rising. "You're just a little girl. You need me. You belong to me." He took a step closer to her, and Lily realized that she was in real danger. Uncle Ben wasn't just obsessed. He was insane. And he wasn't going to let her leave this room. Lily knew she had to do something, and fast. She glanced around the room, searching for something, anything, that she could use as a weapon. Her eyes landed on the wooden box that contained the key. "What's that, Lily Pad?" Uncle Ben asked, noticing her gaze. "Did you find my little treasure?" Lily grabbed the box and held it out in front of her, like a shield. "Stay away from me, Uncle Ben," she said. "I'm not afraid of you." Uncle Ben laughed, a chilling, high-pitched laugh that sent shivers down her spine. "Oh, but you should be, Lily Pad," he said. "You should be very afraid." And with that, he lunged at her. Uncle Ben lunged, his hands outstretched, his eyes blazing with madness. Lily screamed and threw the wooden box at him. It hit him in the chest with a thud, momentarily stunning him. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Lily scrambled past him and out of the secret room. She slammed the panel shut, trapping him inside. But she knew it wouldn't hold him for long. She ran through the attic, her heart pounding in her chest, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She could hear Uncle Ben pounding on the panel, shouting her name. Lily Pad. Come back here. You can't escape me. Lily ignored him and raced towards the attic door. She fumbled with the doorknob, her fingers slippery with sweat. Finally, she managed to open it and burst out of the attic, slamming the door shut behind her. She didn't stop running. She ran down the stairs, through the hallways, and out the front door, not stopping until she was standing on the front lawn, gasping for air. She looked back at the house, her safe haven, now a prison. She knew Uncle Ben would be coming after her. She had to get help. She ran to Mr. Grumble's house next door, pounding on his door with all her might. Mr. Grumbles. Help me. Please. Mr. Grumbles opened the door, his face etched with annoyance. What is it, girl? Can't you see I'm trying to? Uncle Ben is trying to hurt me. Lily cried, tears streaming down her face. He's crazy. He's been living in the attic. Please, you have to help me. Mr. Grumbles looked at Lily, his expression softening. He had always thought she was a bit of a nuisance, but he could see that she was genuinely terrified. All right, he said. Come inside. We'll call the police. He ushered Lily into his house and led her to the phone. As Mr. Grumbles dialed 911, Lily looked out the window and saw Uncle Ben emerge from her house, his eyes scanning the neighborhood. He's coming. Lily screamed, pointing at Uncle Ben. He's coming to get me. Mr. Grumbles grabbed a baseball bat from the corner and stepped out onto the porch, his face grim. Stay away from her, Ben, he shouted. I'm not going to let you hurt her. Uncle Ben stopped in his tracks, his eyes fixed on Lily. You can't protect her, Grumbles, he said, his voice low and menacing. She belongs to me. Mr. Grumbles raised the baseball bat, his knuckles white. Get off my property, Ben, he said. Or I'll call the police myself. Just then, the police sirens wailed in the distance. Uncle Ben hesitated for a moment, then turned and ran back towards Lily's house. He's getting away. Lily cried. Don't worry, Mr. Grumbles said, putting his arm around her. They'll catch him. And he was right. Within minutes, the police arrived and surrounded Lily's house. They found Uncle Ben hiding in the attic and took him into custody. Lily was safe. For now. The next few weeks were a blur of police interviews, social workers, and worried phone calls from her parents. Lily told her story again and again, each time reliving the terror and the betrayal. Uncle Ben was charged with stalking and unlawful imprisonment, and the court issued a restraining order, ensuring that he could never come near her again. Slowly, things started to return to normal. The house, once a source of fear and anxiety, began to feel like home again. The creaks and groans seemed less menacing, and the shadows seemed to recede. Lily started to sleep better, no longer haunted by nightmares of Uncle Ben lurking in the darkness. One evening, as Lily was sitting in the living room reading a book, Clara appeared beside her, her ghostly form shimmering in the soft light. Thank you, Lily, Clara said, her voice filled with gratitude. You helped me find peace. What do you mean? Lily asked. By uncovering the truth about Arthur, you freed me from this house, Clara explained. I was trapped here, reliving my fear and my pain, unable to move on. But now that Arthur's evil has been exposed, I can finally rest in peace. Lily smiled. I'm glad I could help, she said. But I couldn't have done it without you. Clara smiled back, a radiant, ethereal smile. Goodbye, Lily, she said. Be brave, be strong, and never give up. And with that, she faded away, disappearing into the shadows, leaving Lily alone in the living room. But Lily didn't feel alone. She felt a sense of peace and contentment that she hadn't felt since Grandma Rose passed away. The house felt different now, lighter, brighter, filled with a sense of hope. Mr. Grumbles, who had proven to be anything but grumpy, continued to check on Lily, bringing her cookies and helping her with her chores. He even started to smile more often, and Lily realized that he wasn't such a bad neighbor after all. Lily's parents visited every weekend, showering her with love and support. They were proud of her bravery and her resilience, and they assured her that they would always be there for her. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, Lily started to feel truly happy in her new home. She had faced her fears, overcome a dangerous stalker, and found a way to make peace with the past. She had discovered her own strength and her own courage, and she knew that she could handle anything that life threw her way. The doors still creaked, and the shadows still danced, but now, Lily didn't feel afraid. She felt safe, she felt loved, and she felt like she finally belonged. This was her home. And she was ready to make it her own. She was finally home.